Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm driving the new 2022 Kia Sportage. Although we're in 2023 now, it's still the 2022 model. Came out in around September, October last year. It's not a coincidence that I'm wearing this color top today because I'm actually giving away the color of the Kia Sportage that I am going to be reviewing now. The 2022 Kia Sportage is now in its 5th generation. From the start of this video, let me just tell you, it's an absolutely stunning vehicle. It almost ticks every single box that you need. I mean, you can use this car as a commuting car, a holiday car, road trip, family car. Even if you're a single person, you want a big car. I mean, this car honestly ticks all the boxes, and it comes in at various prices to suit your budget. So going through this video, you will find out why I say this is probably one of the best multi-purpose vehicles you could buy. Hear what I have to say about this Kia Sportage, and then decide if you agree with me that this is currently one of the best vehicles in the market. Starting off on this Sportage 2022 model, we look at the power and the kilowatt figures and Newton meters. It pushes out 132 kilowatts of power, 265 Newton meters of torque. Those numbers are okay. I mean, it's not absolutely huge, but it is good nonetheless. The engine it has is a 1.6 turbo, and the 1.6 turbo is the same engine you get across all 5 models. So entry range, you're starting at the LX model. That entry model, well, at the time of filming, will cost you 555,000. It goes right up to 750,000. That's for the GTS model. Now the GT line, there's 3 models, so we're starting at the LX. The current one I'm driving now is the EX model, and then you get 3 in the GT. So you get the S edition being the top of the range. This EX model will cost you 609,000, and in this video I'll show you why this one here is actually the sweet spot. At 609,000, it's not too expensive, it's not too cheap, but it's a great value for money proposition, and let me tell you why. So with the Kia Sportage, because you got 5 models, they spread out the specs quite well. So in this model, being the EX, you get the 18-inch alloy wheels as opposed to the 17 you'll get on the LX. You do get some extra safety features, and what you won't get in this car is the panoramic sunroof. That's not a deal breaker for many. You won't get some additional safety features which you can do without, like forward collision assistance, rear cross traffic alert, ventilated seats as well, although in here you get heated seats in the front and at the back. So what Kia went for is give the base specs to all the models and then just add on small features here and there, increase the price, but you don't have to go for those top models. Why I'm doing this in this video is because 610,000, it is a lot of money. It's not nothing. And 750, I mean the 150,000 rand difference is a lot for many. Don't let that put you off this Kia Sportage, the price, because throughout the video I'm going to go through these features. We're going to talk about fuel efficiency, we're going to talk about family road trip, we're going to speak about many reasons why you would want to buy the Sportage 2022 and why specifically this model here. Splash lemon color, maybe it might not be the color for you, maybe it is. It's a good YouTube color, it looks good on the thumbnails. It's a catchy color, although some of the other colors are better, like that green color that the Sportage also comes in. I think it's a better color than this, but nevertheless the splash lemon is nice. Whether it's for you or not, you can decide. Let me know, put it in the comments below. If you look at other cars that are yellow, it's a very striking yellow, but this yellow here, it's very easy on the eye, and I'd say it's one of the more elegant yellow cars that I've seen. So let's speak about some of the physical attributes of this car. We said it has a 1.6 turbo, that's across all. I've had this car for a while, and many people have, eyeballed it when I drive past. If I stop somewhere, people come and have a look at the car. And when people ask to see the inside, the first thing that strikes them is the digital cluster in the front. It's a curved 12.3 inch digital cluster. It's so stunning to look at. You'll see it's a single piece and it doesn't break, and that just adds to the dynamicness of this digital cluster. Completely digital, which makes it look absolutely stunning. Since we are chatting about the features of the infotainment system, you do have your standard Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. One thing Kia actually left out in this car, which I think they should have had, is if you connect to the car wirelessly. Like you can't have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay if you're not connected with a wire. Speaking of wired connections, a nice thing is the USB ports. They do have both. They've got the normal USB and they got USB-C, and they are fast charging ports. Yeah, the other day my battery was on 6%. It was load shedding, so I couldn't charge it at home. I took a drive. Within about 10 or 15 minutes, I was already at about 27%. So it does charge very fast, and that is handy. And I mean, these are small things, but they're important things to mention, I would say. There is USB ports at the back here on the seats, this seat, and that's it. And look, we're not talking about the top of the range here. We're talking about, there's 5 models. This is number 2 from the bottom. So the number 2 from the bottom still has fast charging. It's got rear fast charging as well. All the models do come with a 5-year unlimited kilometer warranty. Now let's speak about, something that is very important nowadays, which is fuel efficiency. This car is big, right? It's got a 7-speed DCT transmission. I've driven this car for quite a long while, and I did notice this on the fuel efficiency, is that as you're driving, the gears change very quickly. Now, in one of my previous videos, if you haven't watched it, I will link it at the end. You should watch it because it's about driving safety and also saving fuel while driving. So in that video, I do mention that you want to get to the highest gear as quickly as you can. This Sportage does that for you, and it does it for you very well. I was at a robot, I just took off now I'm already in 4th gear. And I'm under 50 kilometers an hour, and I was already now I'm on 5th as I'm talking to you. So it's going up so quickly. And it gets you to that 7th gear so quickly. And as you know, if you are in the highest gear, you're using less fuel. So that's what makes this car fuel efficient, well, for a big car. So now, if you're wondering, okay, what is a fuel efficient number? What would you think is a fuel efficient number for a car of this size? If you're going on the long road, if you're getting about 7 liters, I'd say that's fine, right? For a 1.6 turbo. But with this car, you actually get less than that. So I was driving this car on the long road. In preparation for this video, I wanted to see how quickly does it get to the highest gear. What revs are you sitting at when you cruising at 110 or 120, because that also impacts fuel efficiency. And I just watched the fuel efficiency monitor. When I got to the top gear at about 100, well, I didn't get to it at 110, but when I was cruising at about 105 to 112, 113, around there, the revs were under 2000 revs. You're looking at about 1.8 to 1.9. And I'd say that's absolutely magnificent, because you don't feel at any time that you're driving the car, you never feel that the engine is at strain, even if you're going uphill. I got about between 6.3 to 6.5 liters average on maybe a span of about 200 kilometers. And what I did notice was my trip to the destination was more fuel efficient than on the way back. I think it could be because of the roads I used. I think coming back was a bit more uphill. It did feel like the engine was straining a bit. Not that it couldn't handle the terrain, but just that it was working harder to push the car up. So there were points where I was at under 6 liters per 100, and there were points where I was over. So on the overall trip, I was getting about 6.3, and that is really, really good for a car of this size. Not to say it's a very big car, it's not an MPV, it is an SUV. Over all the cars that I have driven, I didn't expect this car to be that fuel efficient. This is now before I looked at the spec sheet. When you're driving a car, it's actually the first time where I could notice that the gears are changing so quickly. So I was actually excited to see what the fuel efficiency is like, because the gears are changing quickly. It was transitioning quite smooth. It wasn't straining the engine. And bear in mind, 99.9% of the time I was driving on eco mode. As you know from my previous videos, and if you have been watching car videos quite often, you would know that the manufacturers put eco mode with a pure fuel efficient sense in mind. Eco mode is not there to give you a very enjoyable drive. One car that just comes to mind straight away is the Renault Kiger, and maybe a few others. When you drive on eco mode, even the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid, when you drive that car on eco mode, it's actually a little bit on the painful side, because you're not enjoying the drive. You are fuel efficient, but you're actually feeling how fuel efficient you are. You'll say, you know what, this thing's not driving so well, let me change it to normal. I'll sacrifice a bit on fuel, but I need to enjoy this drive. But not once did I feel like that here. Eco all the way. You don't need to put it in any other modes. It's got enough power. I took it up hills here in Cape Town, up towards Table Mountain. I didn't feel like the car was straining. And on the long road, while I am in eco mode, if I'm behind a car that's driving slow and I need to overtake, I don't switch it to normal or to sport. I just put my foot down and I go and I overtake with absolute ease. And that is not something I can say for all other cars. I mean, bear in mind, it's a 1.6 turbo, it's got a turbo engine, it's a big car, and it's fuel efficient. Reminds me a lot of the Renault Duster, although that was diesel, and we know diesel is a bit more fuel efficient than petrol. I think it was a 1.5, I can't exactly remember, but that was also quite fuel efficient and fast. So I would say this car is on par with that for fuel efficiency. Not as good fuel efficient, but in terms of the drive, it's smoother. If you haven't seen the Renault Duster video, it's also a very good car to look at, so check it out. If you're test driving a car, you will nitpick a few things, like you'll say maybe 5 things I don't like about the car, and some people have a list. If this car has this, I'm not taking it. Now, what about if you look at it the other way? What are things that, if the car has it, then you're absolutely going to take it? Like, look at the small things. This car, like I said, the GT models do have much more safety specs than this one here. Something I'd like to bring to your attention is, although this doesn't have the blind spot collision assistance, so that's basically what happens is if you are about to turn into a car from, like, if you're changing lanes and someone comes into your blind spot, if you're about to turn in, then the car will automatically move you to the left and hit brakes for you. So this car doesn't have that, but what it does have is just as efficient. I'm just thinking of the Renault Duster again now. That did have blind spot monitoring, and if you look at maybe the before the Kia Carnival, you got the Sedona. So the previous technology of blind spot monitoring is, if you look at the side mirror, they have those orange cars side by side that might show you there's a car in your blind spot, or they have like a orange dot that flashes to show you something's in your blind spot. Now it is very visible being orange, but a color that's better than orange is red, because there's just something about a red, like your hazards are triangle red, and triangle is just known as a warning sign. So if you look on the side mirror, there's a red triangle, and that actually flashes when someone's in your blind spot. If you're driving, now let's say for instance I want to turn into my right lane and I see the triangle comes up, it shows me, okay, someone's approaching. If I put my indicator on, now I'll put my indicator on, although there's no one in my blind spot, but as soon as you put your indicator on, then the car starts beeping, because it actually figures out that there's someone in your right hand side, your right blind spot is on, and when you put your indicator on, it's picking up that you want to turn, so it's going to stop you, so it's going to make beep beep beep, that sound. Now I'd say that is just as good as blind spot monitoring, that avoidance, because if you think of it, sometimes these safety features can actually make you a more lazy driver. Like for instance, if you have that collision avoidance, so if you take for granted that your car is going to do the job for you, you might be less conscious on the road, and that's not a good thing sometimes. Things like adaptive cruise control. In a previous video, the Honda BRV video, I did speak about one of the downfalls of adaptive cruise control. Lane keep assist is nice to have, but I don't think it's a very safe thing to have, because the technology hasn't been perfected yet. So if you do have it, it's not like these electric cars or any cars that can take you to your destination without driving, like autonomously. You still have to put your hands on the steering wheel. So adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, those things can get a bit irritating. And if you look at all the car reviewers and most people in the general public, they would say, do you put lane keep assist off or on? 99% say off. So if you're going to pay extra for a feature that you're not even going to use, then what's the point of buying the car that has that feature, unless there's other features you want in the car? So I think that Kia has this triangle that comes up, and when the car beeps, I think that's more than adequate. You don't actually need to go to the GT line, but if you have an extra 80 to 100,000 lying around, and you feel that the features in the GT model, if you feel that's important for you, then by all means buy that car. But I'm just trying to tell you that if you're looking for a value for money proposition, don't look past this one without giving it a very good look and actually deciding if you're going to use those additional features. I just mentioned now that the GT line will have leather seats, but these seats, they're not leather, but they are so comfortable. I don't miss leather seats at all after sitting in this car. So comfort wise, as a driver, the steering wheel is very comfortable, the gears are very comfortable. In actual fact, I'm just thinking about it now, I don't even think I needed to adjust the seat at all. It's got electronic adjustments, so that's very simple if you do need to adjust it. So it goes up and down. Okay, it doesn't go front and back, but that's okay. I mean, it goes up and down, that's fine. You got your all-around electric windows. Let's check if it's automatic all-around. No, it's not. Is that a deal breaker? Surely it can't be. If it is for you, let me know, but I don't think it should be. It's very easy to toggle between unlock your doors, lock the windscreen. Sorry, not the windscreen, the windows. A knee room and headroom is very, very adequate at the back. When people come and have a look at the back seat, they see it's not an MPV. They say, oh, it's a 5-seater. Then they open the back seat. Wow, it's quite spacious. And not once did anyone at the back complain. Like, there's been sometimes 3, sometimes 4, like an additional adult at the back with 3 children, big sized children, and they all fitted quite well. Once I even drove here with 7 passengers with 3 adults, and no one complained once that they were uncomfortable. So the car definitely has a lot of space. So I mentioned to you fuel efficiency. It is a family car, road trip, and commuting. Why I say you can use this car as a commuting car is it is fuel efficient. Obviously, you're going to use more fuel than on the long road, but this car can be used as your car to work, And then you don't need to buy two cars. You don't need to get a more fuel efficient car. In the end, if you're buying a second car, it's not just the price of the fuel, but the price of the car. You have to pay maintenance, you're paying your annual license fees, you're paying insurance. So an additional car is going to cost you. If you can, make do with one car, get one nice big size SUV if you are looking for that. If you guys do have the 4th generation of the Sportage and you are looking to upgrade or to trade in and get a new one, they really did an absolutely amazing job with this 5th generation. Look at the exterior, it's such a classy vehicle. And this car now, it would compare to the likes of Mercedes, BM, Audi in terms of the classiness. Price wise, it still comes in cheaper. You're getting such a value for money proposition in Kia, and I'm really impressed with the cars Kia is coming out nowadays. There has been a wait for the Sportage 2022. I'd say the wait is definitely worth it for how it looks, the capabilities, the drive. If you look at all the boxes, what kind of specs does it have? It has amazing specs. How's the fuel efficiency? It's good. How's the interior comfort for the passengers? It's very good. So there's so many things. I'm trying to think, what don't I like about this car? There's actually only 2 things. The bottle holders, I'd say they're not the best suited for a bottle. If you look down here in the driving seat, the bottle doesn't sit up straight, it sits up a bit skew. But I mean, I have driven the car for a while, I did get used to it, but it's not the most comfortable, so to take out your water bottle and to put it in, so that is a downside. And on the center console, the bottle holders are too thick. When you put your bottle there, it moves around too much, so it could fall out. Would you take a car with absolutely perfect bottle holders? I mean, they will hold your bottle to perfection, but you won't like a lot of other things about the actual drive, but you'll pay more in fuel, you'll be uncomfortable when you're driving. Or will you take this car that has perfection in almost every sense except the bottle holders? Not good bottle holders and the Kia Sportage, or absolutely perfect bottle holders but a terrible car? You guys take a pick. That is the end of this video on the Kia Sportage. It's an absolutely amazing car. The previous road trip car I used, Honda BRV, that was a fail. Not great as a road trip car. If you want to see why that car is not good, watch the video. Would you guys actually like me to do like a direct comparison, comparing certain cars? If yes, which cars would you like me to directly compare in one video? I will link the Sportage brochure down below if you would like to see all the technical specs. That's it for today's video. Subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends and family. I'm sure you must know someone who wants to watch the Kia Sportage 2022 video. And have a good week. I'll see you guys in next week's video.